Hi guys, I'm Nati, and about over a week ago, I did a community update for Hyperspd when we're talking about the CR5 and what we've been up to in terms of fundraising. Also, the status of the company, and also some of the results that we've been getting. Now, in that one, I said that I'll get back to you guys if you guys have any questions or you have any comments. I'll read through them and I'll try to respond to them. And oh, by the way, if you notice, I have some, like, as you can see, I'm in some sort of green screen thing, a different setup today. So let's get into it, shall we? So here we go, February 29th, I wrote something, and let's see what we got. So let's see. Brian Margaka, sorry if I pronounce your name wrong, said, "Hey Nati, how are you raising funds? Private or public crowdfunding? Question mark." And yeah, that's a very good question. It's a combination of both. We do want to do crowdfunding, but as we've discovered last year, crowdfunding is kind of in this weird place, meaning that it seems to be more of a pre-sale platform as opposed to what seemed to be the original spirit of crowdfunding, which was like a way for people to get support for what they're doing. So it's turned into more of like a system where, okay, you put something up and people do pre-orders and whatnot. And because of that, people have like been doing tactics where, like, okay, they try to play the algorithm on things like Kickstarter or Indiegogo, where they'll do things like, okay, well, they'll do a lot of preloading or priming the pump before they get around to like actually launching the campaign, because more often than not, when people just put a campaign together and just launch it without doing any sort of pre-work or preloading beforehand, it just fizzles out. I think I've been told mainly this is because of something along the lines of, well, if you don't get high up in the algorithm right away, meaning like if a thing like Kickstarter or Indiegogo, if you launch your campaign and it just sort of sits there, then it doesn't really get onto the front page, versus a campaign where you put it out there and then they see like, oh my gosh, there's like instantly funded within the first hour. Then they're like, oh, okay, this thing belongs on the front page. And so people have been playing this game when it comes to that. And unfortunately, to play this game, as we've been told by many, many different marketing firms, that yeah, it takes money to play, or pay to play, basically. It's unfortunate, but that seems to be the system. So for us, in order to get there, we have to go through this thing where we'll have to raise money first before we can go even get to crowdfunding. There's a couple other things as well. I mean, we have to like get our bikes in front of the reviewers, and it requires us to get in front of other people and just bring it around the country and whatnot. And again, that just takes money. So I would love to be able to do it right now, but until we get some funding, we have received some since we've been since my last update, but we need more. And so it's like, okay, well, we'll get there, but this is sort of the things and that we have to do. In other words, yeah, we have to raise private money first before we can get to go to crowdfunding, if that makes any sense. That said, recently, I guess due to like just me posting stuff up and whatnot, I recently Indiegogo did contact us directly, so that's really awesome. So okay, I don't know where that's gonna go. I was just messaged just last week, and then I guess now that the weekend's over, I guess I'll hear back from them with additional details. So fingers crossed on that one. Let's see, what else? Respect the hustle, go get them. Jose Ortiz. So thank you, Jose. Yeah, it is a lot of hustling, and it's something that I've had to learn to do in terms of just have to keep on going and just gotta go get them. Let's see, Jeremy Joe, wishing you lots of success. Thank you very much, Jeremy. Let's see, what else? Now that's on the Facebook page. Let's see what else we got. Now here on the YouTube, let's see what we got. Thanks for complete transparency. Yes, thank you. My pleasure. It's very important for me that I try to be as completely transparent as I can with you guys. I'm completely transparent. I'll be as transparent as I can be with you guys. In other words, like, yeah, I want to be honest, and I want to let the community know what's up with Hyperspd. For me, it's very important for us as a brand. We believe in consumers and keeping consumers in the loop and doing great customer service. And a part of that is not just like after you guys buy our bike and we do customer service. I mean, of course, to me, that's super important. But that also extends into, hey, look, we're doing fundraising. We're getting our company off the ground. We're bootstrapping. And so this is also part of that customer service, which is like some people have already put money down for our bikes, and some people have also invested into us. And so, okay, yeah, this is all part of that process of being open about what's going on in Hyperspd. So thank you. Let's see, what else? We're very excited and here to help you in any way we can. And that was from eBoto Society. Thank you very much. And then, oh, by the way, that's the group that I post to in Facebook. Great bunch of guys. They're really into electric bikes. So, yeah, good group and super supportive. Thank you very much. Let's see. Phil San 4674. Good stuff, Nati. Let's meet up if you're ever in DC. Would be great to set up a future demo day for the bike. Yeah, absolutely. I do want to get out to the East Coast. I do want to head out to the DC area. Now, I think if there's an event out there, then we can look into that. Once we get our demo bikes out to the US, yeah, I want to set up a cross-country tour. And as long as things can be set up where there's a nice, good crowd of people that we can show our bike to, would love to do that. Let's see, Frankie Reyes. What incentive do manufacturers have to make a few bikes? Best wishes going forward. So, yeah, typically, oh, sorry, you guys can't read that. There we go. Frankie Reyes. Typically, when it comes to manufacturers, usually, if you talk to big ones, they don't want to do just a few bikes. And I can understand if you're usually when you're talking to a large operation, they have a lot of overhead, and for them to do odd job projects here and there where they're only building like one or two bikes, it's totally not worth it for them because they have a lot of employees, they have a large facility, and they just need to be pumping out parts or bikes all the time. Typically. Now for us, thankfully, since we started off doing research and development out here in Asia, and meaning that we were hacking the Asian supply chain, we were able to already identify factories. We were already able to establish relationships. And we've been able to get it so that now Hyperspd is already set up so that we already have the factories that are willing to produce for us a small number of bikes, but also they're more than happy to also scale with us as well. Meaning if we need to produce 10,000 bikes or 20,000 bikes, they can scale up to that for us. Now for us, we're also trying to pursue, when we roll out, a hybrid strategy as well, meaning hybrid. When we produce bikes, ideally we would be doing something like we would have our own assembly plant, and then we would take in all the parts from all these part suppliers that we were already working with, and then we would do final assembly, and then we would do quality control, and then we send out the bikes out to our warehouses in the US. Now that said, Why? Because quality control is something that is like the heart of the business, meaning like we need to make sure that every single bike that we send out is up to our standards. And that's very difficult when you don't control that process. Uh, that said, it's difficult to get an assembly plant up right away, right out the gate. Meaning, once we get our orders through something like a crowdfunding platform or any other digital channels, once we have those orders coming in, it takes a lot of money in order to create that assembly plant. It's not just the infrastructure cost, which is high, but also you need to bring in expertise. You need to bring in the workers in order to do that and be able to manage all that. And again, that takes money. So usually companies won't be able to build out their assembly plant right away unless they have very deep pockets. So when we say hybrid strategy, what we're planning to do is, yes, we will do fundraising on top of our crowdfunding in order to raise the money necessary to do things like the assembly plant. But in the meantime, in order just to get the bikes out into the marketplace once the orders come in, we will go to these aforementioned factories that we've already had contact with that can scale with us, and we will produce a whole bunch of bikes through them. And then over time, as our assembly plant comes online, then we can start shifting our production over to final assembly in our assembly plant. And then we will handle the quality control. That said, when we're going with these outside vendors to produce our bikes for us, yeah, you'll be just be assured we're going to have a very hands-on approach to the quality control for there as well. Which means like we have to basically have our people there to look over, like making sure that the bikes that are coming out from this are up to our standards. So that's our plan. But yes, usually, sorry if I didn't answer it quite right. If it's just a few bikes, usually it's very, very difficult to get a good factory to do small limited production for you. I mean, like typically, some people think, oh well, you can go to anywhere in, like, say, China, for example. I'm not going to China, but some people think, oh well, I can just go to China. I can find anyone. There's etc. etc. So many factories. Usually, it's like this: the good factories, the ones that you want to work with, usually those guys are busy. Like their work queue is full. And so they're busy just pumping stuff out, because once word gets out that you're a good manufacturer, you get a lot of work, and then it goes down the line. I mean, like then like some people might have some capacity for you, and so like then if you go to them, then maybe they squeeze some in, and then but if like if it's a completely idle factory, that means there's something wrong, and usually they don't do a good job. So you have to be careful when you're selecting manufacturers out here in Asia. So you just gotta be careful with that. So yeah, let's see. Now, so let's talk about Hyperspd then a little bit more on the fundraising side. So I think I alluded to it last time. Something talking about investors. I mean, it's been interesting. I've been talking to investors for Hyperspd actively with a pitch and everything for the last year. And I would say one thing that I learned is that you have to grow a very, very thick skin when you're doing fundraising for any business, but especially when you're doing like basically you're doing a startup and you're bootstrapping. I mean, us at Hyperspd, we're doing something crazy, which is we're bootstrapping electric vehicle company. So we're doing e-bikes now, but we have bigger plans than that, and e-bikes is our first step on this large journey of doing electric vehicles. In other words, yeah, we're bootstrapping and we're picking our small battles first, and then moving on and building bigger and better things. But because of that, yeah, it's very hard. Meaning that you're going to hear no a lot, because especially, well, how can we say? One thing I hear a lot is that investors will say, or prospective investors will say something along the lines of, "Oh, yeah, how much money are you making? How much revenue are you making?" And for us, we're like, well, we're at a point where we've done something amazing, which is like we're not just an idea. We've assembled the team. We've gone through this whole entire design process. We've done many iterations. We've done a prototype, and now we've done a pre-production, ready for production bike. And now we just need the money to do marketing. Now, usually when it comes to the startup game, a lot of people are just going, well, I have an idea. Give me money so I can make a prototype of some sort. And especially when it comes to hardware, that's something that turns off a lot of investors. Well, because hardware it's not like software. Software, it's like, okay, it's cheaper to start up. It doesn't require a lot of infrastructure. It doesn't require a lot of nearly as much money as hardware. Software can be expensive, but yeah, hardware is expensive. And so it's like, okay, so a lot of at least the prospective angel investors, and especially the institutional investors, they'll be like, well, they're really only really interested in software, easier to handle. Also, like the iteration cycles for software is a lot faster than hardware. So fair enough. So that makes things kind of difficult. On top of that, it's very interesting that you'll hear a lot of different perspectives. Because investors, they all have like different ideas, and they all have their different, how can we say, investment profiles that they're looking for. So, for example, I think two different people have said to me, "Oh, Nati, the CR5. Oh no one wants to ride that. Oh, look at it. Women don't like it." I go, "Huh? Women don't like it? So?" And they're like, "Oh well, women just don't like it. So therefore you lose half your market." And I'm like, "Huh? It's an automotive product. That's okay." But okay, but for them, they're like, well, they're looking for something that is super mass market, something that can sell to everyone. So that's what they want. And like, okay, well, then we don't meet their investment profile. I mean, we could argue with them and tell them like things like, well, yeah, look at it. It's a electric motorcycle. If women don't like it, that's okay. We can find plenty of guys who would be more than willing to ride this thing and buy this thing, and that will make plenty of money. We could argue that. We can also argue things like, well, for the CR5, our experience has been when we take it out to events and we show it in public, 90+% of the people who come up to the bike and want to sit on it and want to take their picture with it or come up and just touch it and caress it, 90% plus of those people are women. So how do you explain that? Well, for us, the CR5 is, well, we intentionally made it a bit smaller in stature, meaning we made the seat height and the ergonomics of it in such a way that it's not intimidating for smaller statured people to get on. Like a typical motorcycle, it's a bit bigger and it's heavier and it's intimidating. Like people think, I suspect women think like this style of cafe racer bike is very sexy. But the thing is though that usually like this category of bike is something that they can't physically handle or even, sit on comfortably. And so when they see the CR5 and it's something that, oh yeah, it's actually very easy for them to sit on and to handle, they're like, oh yeah, I want to try that. Because it's the first time that they actually have the opportunity to do so. Something that doesn't intimidate them, something that doesn't scare them. Now we could argue that with these prospective investors, but if they're coming in with a viewpoint like this from the very beginning, it's like, well, okay, that's fine. Choose your battles and don't fight with or try to win over everyone. I think the most important part for this investor phase or investor fundraising phase is that you need to be able to find people who appreciate your thinking and your worldview. I'm not saying like find yes men. No, you want to find people who complement you. Like in getting investors into the company means they get equity, and when they get equity, that it's sort of like almost like getting married, and you want to make sure that you and anyone that that could possibly take a piece of your company, you guys can get along. And so we're very, very mindful of that. We don't want to just take money from anyone. I mean, yeah, money is nice, but money comes with strings attached. Money means that they have a stake in the game. Money means that they have a say in what goes on. And if your philosophy and their philosophy are not, if they don't match in the very beginning, before they even put money in, it's going to be much, much worse once they do put money in. Because now it's like, oh, you weren't exactly getting along beforehand, like in the sort of like the flirting phase. Yeah, now it's that's going to blow up and metastasize to something much, much worse once investment actually comes into the company. So we are very, very aware of that, and we try to keep that in mind when we're talking to investors. So in other words, yeah, we don't want money just from anyone. We need someone that can complement our business, and more importantly, can also see the vision that we have and can also want to support the vision that we have. So for example, I had a guy that he owned like, let's see, what can I say? He owned like half the Burger Kings in a certain country. And it's like, oh, okay, at least that's what I was told. The guy seemed to be rather well off. And, he's also a motorcycle freak. Love motorcycles. So he comes, someone introduced him to come into our business, to come to talk to us about prospective investment. But the thing is though, it's like, oh, well, yeah, he said to us, well, Nati, it's like, oh, well, yeah, I don't believe in electric motorcycles. And we're like, huh? And he's like, yeah, they're not like real motorcycles. They lack this. And he went through this entire list. And oh, I don't like them. And I'm like, huh? He's like, oh, what I want is electric dirt bike. So yeah, I want like something that fun that I can ride around on the trails, and that's what I want. And we're like, well, and despite us saying like things like, okay, why we feel that electric road going motorcycle is something that we feel that there's a very large market for, he just disagreed completely. Now the friend and because of that, it's just for us it wasn't very interesting. Now, the friend who introduced us, he's like, "Oh, Nati, well, why didn't you just build? You can just build him like the bike that he wants, and then he'll give you like a couple $1 million." And we're like, "Well, maybe, but one, we just had a very large disconnect or difference of opinions just from the get go. One, and then two, it's like, yeah, well, we started Hyperspeed because we have a vision of what we think is great for the marketplace. And we think that what we want to build has a very good market. And our market data now shows and proves that. We didn't create Hyperspeed so that someone can just throw money at us and just treat us like a bunch of engineers where we build his idea instead. No. And so, it's, although yes, I guess he has money and yes, he could fund us, we would then no longer be doing our business. We would now be doing his. So keep that in mind. When it comes to like this investment stuff, and you will meet a lot of different people with a lot of different ideas. And yes, people have money. Great. But that doesn't always mean like they're a good fit. One friend of mine, he put it in a really good way, which is like, at this stage we're going around and kissing frogs, and we're hoping that one turns into a prince. And you're gonna have to kiss a lot of frogs before you find that prince. And so, which is very, very true. And when you're going around and kissing frogs and like they don't turn into a prince, don't take it personally and don't get mad. It's just it's just not the right match. It just didn't turn into a prince. That's okay. Keep kissing frogs and just gotta keep moving. In other words, like the guy who said, yeah, they like the hustle. Yeah, it is a hustle. Gotta go around kissing frogs, and the more you can get around, and the faster you kiss frogs, the faster it will be, and more likely it will be you'll find that prince. So, yeah. Anyway, I think I rambled on enough. You guys have any other questions or comments or anything, or well wishes or whatever you want? Just let me know, and I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability. So I'm Nati from Hyperspd, and thanks for listening. Peace.